Heyo everybody, Haku here, and welcome to my first review of Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku. And this is the anime that we're starting, and we're gonna review week to week this season, watch together as a channel or whatever, because we just finished up with 91 Days, Fukigen to Mononokien, and Taboo Tattoo, but I'm like, there's no way I want to replace all three of them with three more, because that would just be a crazy schedule. I was like, it was really a lot to do last season, so I was like, I'm just going to cover one this season, and Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku looked like the best to me, because you guys, if you know me well enough, I've said it before plenty of times, I really like the magical girl genre, but I like when it's the more adult spin on it. Like, I feel like it all started with Madoka Magica, and you guys also know Madoka Magica is one of my favorite anime, just because it was really great with the artistic and writing aspects, and I like when other anime have now decided, okay, that was really popular, let me take the magical girl genre and sort of deconstruct it and make a more adult story where it's more serious, and I don't know, it usually works out really well. But that was a worry that I actually had for this show going into episode 1 and for the show overall. I even talked about it with my friends before even before even the show started. I talked where I was like, people are going to accuse it, and possibly rightfully so, of being a Madoka Magica ripoff if it doesn't do something to distinguish itself as a deconstruction, because I already knew, I was like, it's going to be a survival game type of show, and it's going to be a bit bloody and a bit adult, and I was like, knowing all of that, it's going to be accused of being too similar to Madoka if it doesn't find a way to distinguish itself. And I was like, one of the biggest and best ways it could distinguish itself is by upping up the violence a little, because with Madoka Magica it was focused on the theme of suffering, and it was focused more on the internal aspect of the characters, where the characters were how they reacted to the situation they were in and stuff like that. And it sort of did the actual violence and actual fighting and all of that sort of stuff in an artsy way that wasn't overtly bloody or anything. So I was like, if we decide to stray away from the internal conflict just a little bit so that we could do the actual fighting and combat and really expand upon the violence and brutality in this world, since it is a survival game, and focus more on the survival aspect than on the aspect of suffering, then I think that'll be a huge way to differentiate the series and make it really follow its own path and be pretty great, actually. So I was very happy to see the first scene going through this part by part. When we see just the bodies laying everywhere, piles of blood everywhere, everything's torn apart. We see the monster and everything, and the chick like stabs her hand through its face or whatever. I really like that, because I was like, this is good. They are going straight with the blood and violence from the very beginning, so they are really setting themselves up. And I love that. I love that first scene. And the animation also looked very, very nice in this first scene, and same with the music, and I think that carried throughout the episode really well. I think the animation definitely looks better than anything I watched from last season. It might even look better than Kiznaiver. It's certainly up there with Kiznaiver, but it may even look better, and that's just talking the things that I watched for the channel recently, not overall. Overall, animation-wise, I'm not willing to yet say it's like maybe One Punch Man level, but I think that some fights and stuff, we'll have to wait and see what they can do with the animation, but so far it's looking very high quality. So yeah, I do have my notes as usual, just because I have a ton of things to say, just to help me remind myself of some things about the episode as I'm going through it. But also then we see the actual opening credit sequence, and I like the opening credit sequence, not as much as the ending, but I'll get to that later. But I did like the opening. I thought it did what it does pretty well. I mean, an opening really, I love them, and I say in a lot of ways it can make or break a show. Like, a really, really great opening can make me want to watch a show even if it's not really good. And a really lame opening I'm going to want to skip every time, and it's going to actually take some interest away from the show to me. So this was good. I don't think it was so amazing that it made me more interested in the show, but it certainly wasn't bad. It was definitely good. I liked the music. The animation I feel like they could have done more for, though. I don't know, it's gonna sound bad of me to say I wanted more action, but I kind of wanted a little bit more to happen in the opening than just seeing the characters. But then we start out seeing the RPG and this little I guess mascot character Fave or Fav, I guess. Fav, I guess, would be how they pronounce it, but it's spelled Fave, and I think Fave is what they're going for, so I might end up pronouncing it like that a lot. But we see the player character Snow White, and she's fighting a bunch of monsters and stuff, and she gets this item called a rabbit's foot. So then we see the girl actually playing the game, and she's talking, that's not a very useful item or something. So just by saying it like that, I feel like it's going to just somehow apply to the series later on. But I actually do like the main character a lot. And in a lot of shows, I'm like, I really love side characters, but for me, a lot of time, protagonists are a little bit the same, and they don't feel like they distinguish themselves enough. And while they're the definite tropes that most main characters have present in this main character, I do feel like she's different enough that it's really entertaining. But then we see an actual witch magical girl, and the animation there is really nice as well, and the animation overall I really like. Like, we find out her name is Koyuki, and she's on the bus, and we see the city around her, and it's not a really busy, crowded city type area. There's some rural places, like it looks like a few ponds and trees and stuff, and I think that the setting actually looks really nice. It doesn't look like anything that I've seen again and again and again. It really looks like they went out of their way to make it look like a realistic, normal place, just a normal, ordinary place that you would be. And I think that I don't know, for some reason it looked way better to me and way different than just the generic cityscape that you see in most of these shows. And certainly a lot better than if it was just empty rural area. Yeah, so they're talking about these magical girl stories that they see online. I think that was really interesting, and about how the magical girls are fighting mafia and stuff, and they're like, well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't sound like something they would be doing. And I really liked seeing through this conversation, getting introduced to Koyuki's character, and how she defended herself liking the game and everything. And I don't know, I really like her character there. But she gets home, we have flashbacks to her as a little kid, and I loved getting this in the first episode. Could they have done it in a later episode? Sure. But I actually like that they threw us straight into character development and really liking the main character. I really personally like her after all the stuff we were given, and I thought the flashbacks were really helpful. So yeah. Also, I liked the guy from the flashbacks. I was like, he seemed like a really interesting and unique character. He didn't seem like the basic everyday childhood friend character that you see in pretty much every show, nor did he really seem like the basic love interest type of character. He seemed very different from both of those, so I like that they're going their own way with his character, and I'll talk about it further in the future when we find out more things about him, because I think they do even better at it in a really weird way. But next up, we find out, of course, they're marketing it as 1 in 1,000 players get to become an actual magical girl. And that was, I think they talked about that on the bus, actually. And when she is on the bus, before she gets home, she sees a magical girl and she just brushes it off like, yeah, that's not real, nothing's happening there. But we find out that the guy who was from her flashback is the one who gave her the keychain that we keep seeing her have, and for some reason the whole I have one of these and I'll give the other one to you feels very death flaggy to me. I'm like, it's episode 1, but it really feels like a character that does that kind of stuff is being set up for some sort of death. So yeah, then she gets chosen by Fav or Fave to become an actual real magical girl, and we have the transformation sequence that I think was really, really good to have in there, because while it does seem cheesy, that's a good thing, I feel, because of the way it's a deconstruction. They throw it in there to make you see, like, I don't know, they're using the tropes of the actual genre they're deconstructing in order to form their own story, and I really, really like that. So yeah, I think it was definitely necessary, and then seeing her actual magical girl design, I liked her character design as a normal human, but her magical girl design is really, really nice. I like the way they took the just very, very generic, pink-haired, Madoka Magica looking fucker. And they took that basic, generic magical girl design and they put more detail into it. And I think that works because none of the other characters look like the generic magical girl design. To have her have that generic design, being the character that loves just generic magical girl shows and stuff, I really think that it fits her character really well. And in being generic, it's unique. So I like the way that they worked that in. Then continuing through, we have the transition cards before they go into the second half of the episode, and we see some information on Snow White and Ripple. So really interesting there. Apparently Ripple can throw shurikens that never miss, and Snow White has the power to and apparently Snow White has the ability to actually hear people in distress or whatever. So while I like those powers and all, I kind of wish that they weren't there. I kind of wish those transition cards were different, like if it was or if they didn't have them at all, or if they did a Fukigen no Mononoke type thing where it was just a piece of artwork. I think that would have been better, because while the information is really cool, it kind of takes away not being able to see it in the actual episode itself, but to just be told by some card this information. And we do learn about it later in the episode, so maybe they should have waited and put those at the end of episodes, sort of like what Manmusu did at the end credits. But either way, it's not a big thing to worry about. I mean, who really cares? So then we see Koyuki with her friends the next day, and she leaves them, becomes a magical girl. Then we have the flashback to when she first becomes a magical girl with Fave, and I thought it was funny the way they showed that she has advanced physical powers, by again not just having Fave say, hey, you got advanced physical powers, but to actually have her be like, yeah, and jump up and hit the ceiling. I thought it was a really good way to show it. So we find out that she is Snow White, and she is the 15th magical girl in the city. So yeah, that's a lot. 15 in one city, and you probably think there are a lot all over the world. So it's pretty crazy. Also, like I said, she can hear the thoughts of people in need. And as a magical girl, all magical girls, like, people will only have vague memories of them. So she can do whatever she wants, and she will never show up on a camera in, like, clear focus. It will always be unfocused and blurry. So she gets the Bigfoot effect, essentially. So we have that. She won't show up in pictures. And then we have a montage of her helping people, and that looked great, and it was supposed to span a week long, and I like the way they did that, because it really, they took enough time with each thing she did to make it seem important. It didn't seem like again, things not seeming generic. It didn't seem like generic, oh, she did this, she did that. They spent enough time with each thing she did to make it seem like it had some meaning. So I like that they did that. I like that they took their time with it and still were able to properly show the transition of her growth over just a week. So then Fave is arranging a magical girl meeting in a chat room, and we see some of the other magical girls. Now, I thought that Nemarine was hilarious. I really liked her. And then I saw the, what was her name, Weiss Winter Prison, and I totally thought, I was like, oh, Weiss Winter Prison is totally that guy she knew from her childhood. Man, was I wrong. But I actually like Weiss Winter Prison's design a lot. It might be one of my favorite designs. Then we see La Pucelle, and I liked La Pucelle. And apparently there were others that left before she even got there. And we see a couple others in there that I just didn't feel like mentioning, like Ripple, or what was her name, Cranberry. Cranberry's voice was kind of odd to me. But either way, I really like the whole sequence. I like that they had them meet that way. I like that they put it in sort of a chibi format. So again, more great things to say about this. But she goes to meet La Pucelle in person, and La Pucelle wants to be her trainer, and La Pucelle explains that they each have different districts, and you can go in different people's districts as long as you don't mess with their work and interfere, but it's probably best to avoid Calamity Mary's district, because she is a complete outlaw. And also in Monzen Town, I think they called it, there are 5 magical girls that are working together as a team, because apparently you can just not really combine your districts, but you can just cover both your districts and work as teams. And we find out that Ripple was trained by the one witch-looking magical girl. What was her name again? Top Speed, I think. So yeah, Top Speed trained Ripple, and then they formed a pair together. And I thought it was really funny how once they left, Koyuki was like, she was more like a witch than a magical girl, and that one was definitely a ninja. So again, more things I really like. La Pucelle knows Koyuki apparently, and apparently she is the guy from the flashback. I was floored by that. I was like, what the fuck? What am I watching? What's going on here? But yeah, I was like, okay, I don't know how I feel about this. Your boy from the flashback has massive tits. Oh my gosh, I was done. Yeah, and apparently according to what Fave told La Pucelle, the guy whose name I'm forgetting at the moment, apparently from what Fave said, there are multiple guys working as magical girls throughout the world. It's pretty rare, there aren't that many, but just the fact that there are multiple ones I find pretty interesting. So yeah, then then I thought about it just like a second, and I was like, so this guy is going to be her mentor and her childhood friend. That is double death certainty right there. The childhood friend almost always dies. The trainer or mentor almost always dies. This character's taken on both. Like, I am so fearful. And he gave her the item that she carries around. This dude has death flags all on his back. Oh my gosh. But I don't know. I really like the character because I like how the writer he sort of took the different aspects of those different normal tropes and put them together into one character. So yeah, putting the tropes into one character, I don't think I've ever seen that done quite the same way. So I did really, I really liked that, honestly. And yeah. Oh, also we find out that La Pucelle's ability, or like summoning this sword, at least I believe that's just what the ability is. He says he's sort of like a knight. And then we get the end credits. The end credits are freaking firest end credits of freaking 2016. It was so good. I like that they had Nano, because Nano, pretty much every song they do is amazing. I really like that they did the ending. The ending was completely fire. The animation, perfect. The song, more than perfect. Like, it was so good. No complaints at all. And then we find out in the after credits sequence that the number of magical girls are being halved to 8. And we haven't found out what that quite means for them yet, whether it'll be a competition, whether they'll have to kill each other like a survival game, like what I'm presuming. But I'm sure it'll be more complex than just that. The only thing I'm like, they really didn't have to tell us in the after credit sequence. They could have told us in episode like 2 or 3 maybe, give us a little bit more time to get adjusted to the world, get some development in, and then hit us with that bombshell. That would have probably been heavier, but no nonsense, getting straight into it. There's some respect for that too. So yeah, even though it's not what I think would have been best, I still think it was good. So yeah, I'm so hyped for this series. I loved the animation. I thought the music was friggin' amazing. And the best part for me were the characters and designs. I really liked the characters and designs. All of them felt really unique, and they all took normal tropes that you usually see, but they sort of put their own spin on it, which I like. I thought the setting, again, was a very, very good thing that made this stick out compared to other shows for me. The setting really, it felt different than the normal backdrop we see again and again. So yeah, I'm really hyped mostly to see more of the side characters. Like, I really love the main character, Koyuki, and want to see more of her, but I want to see a lot more of La Pucelle, the guy. I want to see more of Ripple and the witch chick, Top Speed. I really thought they were interesting. More Nemedine, of course. And yeah, just to me, it seems already those 5 that are a team off to themselves, they're definitely going to be the bad guys in this whole fight for survival, because it's going to be like everybody else has to team up in order to take them down, and the main character will probably end up teaming up with the rest of the people, the underdogs, to try to take down those 5. So that seems to me like they're probably going to be the antagonists here, unless they pull a thing where they have to turn and fight the system and try to fight Fav or whatever. But I don't see that quite happening yet, or even soon, honestly. But yeah, overall score for this, because I said I did love it. Oh, I love it so much, and I want to give it a perfect score, but there were a few things here and there where I'm like, I don't know, I'm not sure that I'm willing to call it perfect yet. So while I did personally completely love it, I'm giving it a 9.5 transformations out of 10. Transformations in the one guy's case, for real. But yeah, I really like this, and I'm really, really excited to see more of it. This is, I'm probably more excited for this than any of the 3 anime last season, and 91 Days ended up becoming one of my favorite anime ever. So I am even more excited for this than that. Sorry, heard a bug buzzing around. But either way, like if you did like this video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of my thoughts on this episode and what you thought of the episode itself. Subscribe for more Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Gakuen, or Ikusei Keikaku. Why do I always want to say Gakuen? What do I even watch or read with Gakuen in it? I don't even know why I want to keep saying that. Oh well, whatever. I know Gakuen is school. Yeah. Should be school. Maybe I'm not thinking of Assassination Classroom. I can't be. I don't have any idea what I'm thinking of here. But either way, subscribe for a bunch of stuff. Follow on Twitter as well, and I'll try to keep you updated on stuff for the channel there and everything. And that's it. So thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.